So question 4 is a hypothesis test. We've got the proportion of left-handed adults in the country is 10%. So our initial condition is the probability of finding a left-handed person is 0.1. Freya believes that the proportion of left-handed adults under the age of 25 in this country is different from 10%. She takes a random sample of 40 adults in that age group to investigate her belief. Find the critical region, state your hypothesis clearly, use a 5% level of significance and state the probability of rejection in each tail. Okay, so the initial hypothesis is that the probability equals 0.1. And H1 is that the probability is not equal to 0.1, different from. So this is a two-tailed test with the probability that we want to find is 0.25 at either end. So to be left-handed or not left-handed, this will be a binomial distribution. So X will be distributed in a binomial fashion. The sample is 40 and the probability is 0.1. That represents really the null hypothesis. Now, we don't know the shape of this distribution, and it might very much look like a normal distribution or be very lopsided left or right. So what we've got to do is we've got to choose X is equal to 1 up to variables up here. X is equal to, 12 or something or whatever. To find out what value of X or up to X is going to fall into this 0.025, I'm going to have to try several options. So I'm first of all going to try that X is less than or equal to 2. N is equal to 40 and P is equal to 0.1. And I'm going to use binomial CD on the calculator. And this gives me an answer of 0.223, clearly way outside our limit of 0.025. And if you try X is equal to 1 and put that in, again, it will be way outside. If you now try P, is that X is less than or equal to 0, and you get an answer of 0.0148, which is the first of the values which hops into the critical region. Now we've got to deal with the upper tail. And maybe after a couple of really wayward tries, try the probability that X is greater than or equal to 8. But because the calculator only calculates up to a certain point, we're going to have to take away from 1 the probability of X being less than or equal to 7. So 7 is going to be the number I'm going to be putting into the calculator. N still is 40, P is still 0.1, and I get a probability of 0.0420, which is no good because it is greater than 0.025. So let's go on 1. So I now try the probability of X being greater than or equal to 9, which again is equal to 1 minus the probability of X being less than or equal to 8. Work that one out and we get 0.0185. And that is in the critical region. So I can say that the critical region is defined by X is equal to 0 and X is equal to greater than 9. So for part B, we've got to write down the actual significance level, which means adding up the first two probabilities that made us fall into the critical region. So this is this value here and this value here. And there it is written down. And if you add those two probabilities up, you get 0.0303. And that will be the answer to part B. So now Freya does the test, and the results of her test that 7 adults were left-handed, which, if we look at the results here, is way away from the critical region. So Freya can't challenge the hypothesis that the number of left-handed adults under the age of 25 is different from 10%. There it is written down. She can't challenge the hypothesis, and the proportion of left-handed people is indeed estimated to be 10%. And that's the end of that question.